Welcome to this edition of Tacos Tuesdays with Ace. I am Ace Acosta, joined by Colin Deaver from KTSM Channel 9. Colin,
What's up,
welcome.
Thanks for having me.
It's another round of tacos, and you know tacos are the best thing in the world.
Go ahead, take one.
Hey, you're the guest.
All right, well, you gotta take a bite on here.
All right.
Yeah, come on now.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesdays. Now, Colin, tell us about yourself. You know, sports anchor. How did it start?
Well, I mean, it's been kind of a long time coming, I guess. I started in high school. I was doing newspaper stuff in high school for my student newspaper in Durango, Colorado. Went to college at Oregon. Go Ducks. 8-1 on the year, baby. Flying high, just beat USC. Yeah, went to college at Oregon. Originally, my plan was to do print writing because I've always loved to write. But I got there and I was a freshman. There was like 300 kids trying to write for the student newspaper. I was like, all right, let me try to figure something else out. And I always wanted to do radio stuff too, so went and did the radio stuff. I was doing play-by-play broadcasting for some of the Oregon sports, some high school football and basketball. So that was a couple of years of radio, and then before my senior year of college, I interned for a TV station in Eugene, just kind of see like, hey, what is this about? And I loved it. It was fun. I loved the rush of being on a deadline every single day at both 6 o'clock and for your 10 o'clock shows. I loved the rush of filming, running to put it all together. So I just kind of fell in love with that side of it, and spent my entire senior year of college just kind of putting a reel together to eventually, I guess, go pro, as you would say.
Yeah, now Oregon,
that happened.
The time that you're at Oregon, that was during the golden years, right?
Yeah.
You know, when Oregon's football was just dynamic.
Yeah, the golden era, as we call it. I was there, it was 09. I got there fall of 09 and graduated in June of 2013. So those 4 years, 2009 through 2012 football seasons, it was the entire Chip Kelly era. So I forget exactly what their record was. It was like, I want to say they went like, it was something crazy, like 45-7 those 4 years. They went to a Rose Bowl, they went to a national title game, went to another Rose Bowl my junior year, and then a Fiesta Bowl. So honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better 4 years. The basketball team was pretty good then. The baseball team was good. Softball team was going to World Series. Like, it was a really good time to be there for sure.
Now seeing that dynamic with Oregon being that, you know, top team at that time, how much media was there, like, that you got exposed to, you know, just seeing, I guess, not a circus, but just, wow, you know, everybody's coming in.
Well, and that was also like 2010, 2011, like when I'm starting to get into it, that's like when the digital stuff is really picking up. So you're getting like these blogs. We kind of like joke about it. It'd be like Duck Sports Now, Go Ducks territory, Duck Football News Now with news spelled with a Z. Like it was kind of like, it was jokes, but it was like nowadays, like that's normal. So
thequack.com.
Yeah. Like all that stuff like back then it was like kind of like ridiculous, but now it's just super normal. Like you have your blog, you have your podcast, and like nowadays that's the norm, and that's how people kind of like get into the to the business and everything, which is great. But yeah, so that was one aspect of it, and then because they're good, you have ESPN coming in. Kirk Herbstreit felt like Kirk Herbstreit called half the Oregon games during my time there, and yeah, it was crazy. College Game Day came a few times. Did the show on the quad at Oregon, so it was interesting, and it did definitely help in terms of, I guess, making network connections. Mm-hmm. Not in terms of like with ESPN guys or anything like that. I mean, I met them a couple times, but just like some of the local media, kind of getting your foot in the door. That's how I got the internship.
So you're about to graduate. So how does that go? All right, got that internship. You think you're going to get that job? Like, take us through that.
Yeah. So after that internship, I actually worked at a different TV station in Eugene. I interned at the ABC affiliate, and then from like January of my senior year through about June, I was working at the NBC affiliate, and I was part-time, quote unquote, because I was part-time working 40 hours a week. But I was a sports photographer, reporter, getting on air a little bit. Most of the time, just like, shooting games, mostly behind the scenes. But I thought at the time, hey, this is going to be awesome because I'm here, I'm about to graduate, I've got a little bit of a reel, they've seen what I can do, maybe they'll just give me this job, let me, because we had an opening at the time, maybe they'll just let me kind of step into an on-air role. Well, 2 weeks before I graduated, company was bought out, or the station was bought out by a different company. They fired everybody, laid everybody off, 35 out of 50 employees, something like that, which was terrible. I mean, people who'd worked there for 10, 15 years getting laid off. I mean, it's tough. It's part of the business. It's part of life. But it sucks. You hate to see it. But so I was one of the people. So that's kind of how I began the journey. I obviously didn't have that job anymore, so I had to go out and find something. Ended up finding just a job posting for a job as a weekend sports anchor in Lawton, Oklahoma.
Lawton, Oklahoma. What's there to do in Lawton, Oklahoma?
Not a whole lot. There's the Wichita Mountains Wildlife Refuge. That's honestly looks comparable to the Franklin Mountains. They're smaller than the Franklin Mountains, but it's comparable to that at least. Covered a lot of high school sports. We did do some OU, some Oklahoma State. Did go to a couple Thunder games, but mostly it was covering high school sports, which are huge there, as they are here in El Paso. So
nice. So you're in Oklahoma. What journey was next for you after Oklahoma? How long were you there till?
I was in Oklahoma, Lawton, Oklahoma for 2 years. I mean, I love my time there. First of all, like they call it the Shady 580. It's not shady. It's a good place to live. I love my time there. Anytime I go back, I have to.
That was the Shady what? The Shady.
The area code's 580, so they call it the Shady 580.
Right.
It's like a stereotype from the rest of the state, and I've never liked it because first of all, it's like Oklahoma. It's like, come on, you're Oklahoma. Like, let's calm down. You can't be talking trash about your own bad parts of your own state with your freaking Oklahoma. Second of all, it's not that bad. But anyway, so there for 2 years from 2013 to 2015. After that. I was fortunate to get a job in College Station, Texas, covering Texas A&M in the SEC for 3 years. So that was 2015 to 2018. So that was where I felt like I really grew a lot because I came in as like the weekend sports anchor reporter. Got to cover a lot of big events. Obviously, A&M's playing in the SEC, so Alabama's coming in, Auburn's coming in, LSU is coming in, Kentucky basketball's coming. So you're getting to cover all these big events. Go to NCAA tournaments, but then after about a year there, the sports director who I was working with got a job in Oklahoma City, so I was able to take over as sports director and kind of get some experience from a managerial setting and all that.
Now, going from a sports reporter to sports director, how much of a difference was that dynamic from going from just there to all right, you're in charge of most of this?
It's weird, man. It's absolutely an adjustment. I've never, I was the sports director of the student radio station in college, but that's totally different from
you have a staff
we're
of two
or three people. Myself and the other guy that I worked with, Matt Trent, who's now in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He's 3 years older than me, so I was 25 at the time, so it was kind of weird, like I was in charge of somebody who was 3 years older than me. So we kind of I felt like we kind of had to navigate that for a little bit, and then he's one of my best friends now. But we figured it out, and we honestly we did some great things there. I'm so proud of the work we did. We were very understaffed. We had the two of us, and with help from a couple girls every once in a while. But there's the two of us trying to cover all the A&M sports. We covered Sam Houston State. We covered 38 high schools. It was a lot, and we tried to do it all the best we could. I felt like we did a pretty good job of it. And the interesting thing about that job was, I think everybody sees the newscasts on KTSM. We do a Monday through Friday, a noon show, a 5, 6, and a 10, and then obviously our morning shows. And then weekends, it's just two shows in the evenings. But that station was interesting because it was Monday through Friday, 6 and 10 o'clock newscasts. But then Saturdays, we wouldn't do newscasts. The sports guys were in charge of producing a 30-minute sports show devoted to Texas A&M athletics or anything else that was happening. It was the two of us putting it all together every single Saturday.
Was that airing in the morning or?
It was at night. It was a Saturday night. So that was stressful at times, but it makes you so much better as an anchor and a reporter, and just as you're at your job in general, just because you're doing all sorts of different things for that. Literally, the two of you putting it all together yourself. So that was again, stressful at times, but made me better, and I enjoyed it. And so I was there for 2015 to 2018. May of 2018 was when I came here. So
now going back to there, what other big events other than the SEC games did you get to cover in that area? Was there anything, I guess, because you got that's Texas A&M, any playoff championship games or anything around there?
No. A&M was never good enough to go to the college football playoff. They played in a bowl game every year, so went to did I go either one or two went to a couple bowl games. The men's basketball team made the NCAA tournament twice while I was there. Made the Sweet 16 twice, so got to go to the Sweet 16 NCAA tournament. The baseball team made the College World Series in Omaha, so went to that. Probably the biggest one though was the Super Bowl, the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl. I don't remember which number that one was, but it was in Houston in 2017. And College Station's like an hour from Houston, so we actually went down and covered the Super Bowl when the Patriots were down 28-3, came back and won the game. So
now walking into that arena, like, can you just describe it to some that's never even gone to a Super Bowl? Like when you walk in there, like, what's the feeling?
Yeah, well, first of all, I hope, like any football fan, I hope that they one day have a chance to go cover a Super Bowl, or if you're not like a reporter, just go to a Super Bowl, because like everything that you would hope it would be, like it is. It's like you go into it with such high expectations, like this is the Super Bowl, this should be like the greatest sporting event that football puts on every year, and it is. Like they dressed it to the nines, like the game, like also the game itself was very entertaining. But even else, even if it wasn't entertaining, like it was just like, yeah, this is what the Super Bowl should be. The only thing that is better on television is the halftime show, because it is legitimately made for television. Like, and we were up in the nosebleeds, which was where the press seating was. We could barely, like, it was Lady Gaga. We could barely see what she was doing.
You saw her maybe fall from the
that's for television though. She was like, they filmed her up on the roof earlier, and then she jumped like she was dangling, like she came down from the ceiling.
But it wasn't like
she didn't jump. No.
That's a little behind the scenes, okay?
Yeah.
And don't tell NFL.
Yeah. Take that out.
All right, let's get another taco bite on this one right here. You know,
Love it.
this is Taco Tuesdays with Ace. Oh, fumble. So he's fumbling. He's not a Steelers fan. Perfect. So College Station to the Sun City. How did that come about?
So it's how I ended up here is kind of a sore subject, I guess you could say. It's ended up being very good, but I was actually in College Station. I was dating a girl, and she got into medical school here, and that was maybe 3 or 4 months before I actually the opening at KTSM came open. So from I guess we were together, and the job came open, and I applied and told Andy Morgan, hey, this is the situation. Like, she's moving here. I saw the opening. Blah blah blah. If it's if it's something that would interest you here, like here's my stuff. So anyways, get the job. That's how it all came about. Get the job, and then a month before we were supposed to move together here, we broke up, and very not good. It was not a good relationship. Tough time. Tough times, but not. It was not a good relationship. But anyways, I was like, well, I already accepted the job. Like, I can't, and like my parents have always told me, like, hey, if you commit to something, like, you have to stick to it, and like that's how I've always tried to live my life, is like you stick to your commitments. And I'd already accepted the job and told him, and Andy at that point had been working on his own for like 2 months, so I was like, I'm not gonna do that to him, like make him go find somebody else. So I moved here on my own. I'd never been to El Paso.
Not even drove through?
I'm sure I'd flown over in at some point, maybe, but...
You thought we were in New Mexico, maybe?
No, I knew it. I grew up in Colorado, so I knew where El Paso was, but I just never been here. I had no expectations for it, and I remember pulling in, this would have been May of 2018, and people had told me, hey, it's a pretty big city. I was not fully prepared to come into El Paso, go under the 375 overpass on the east side, and be like, all right, let's see. I live on the west side, so I was like, all right, let's see how far we are. It's mapping to the apartment complex, thinking we're going to be 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. No, we're a 40-minute drive. So that's my first impression of, oh my gosh, this place is huge. So that was almost that was my first impression, was pulling into town and being, oh, this place is big. Like, you're driving on I-10, like you're seeing all the businesses on the sides of the roads going through downtown, seeing the mountains. I was like, oh, this is a cool place. And I think that, I think just because of like how I ended up here, like why I ended up here, and everything I was like going through at the time, there's a 3 or 4 month period right when I got here that it was kind of like pretty tough. Like I wasn't sure that I wanted to stay. I ended up pushing through it and staying, and falling in love with the city, obviously.
Right there.
But it's been good since about last February. It's been fantastic. Met another girl here. She's fantastic. Her family's great. So it's just, El Paso has been very good to me. So
what has drawn you to El Paso? Like, as you're going through that tough time, was it just the culture, the people, what drew you to help you make you feel more relaxed?
I think what you said, just the people. It's a very, obviously, like, family in this city, in this culture is very important. That's how I've always been. I love, like, one of my favorite parts of this city is, like, people will be like, yeah, my cousin. Well, she's not really my cousin. She's like my friends, my mom's like friends, like sister. But she's my cousin. That's like my I love it. That's my favorite part. And I've always talked about people that way. I have like these 2 best friends, Drew and Kyle, they've been my best friends since college. I introduced them to people as my brothers, and people will be like, "You guys look nothing." I was like, "Well, they're not really my brothers." So, so I get, like, I've just always done that. So I feel kind of like a kinship in like kindred spirit. Yeah, I feel exactly.
Like, my brothers are here. They're like, "Oh, hey, what's up, brother?" Yeah. No hesitation. Yeah. Like, just keep moving.
Exactly. So just like the familial, I guess, vibes I get from this place, just how nice everybody is. And just, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's the weather. Like, I felt happy here. I really can't totally explain it, but
it just feels like home.
Yeah, just for more than any place that I've lived, just since I was growing up in Colorado, or maybe Eugene, Oregon, going to college. Like, this place feels like home, and that's important. I mean, especially as moving as much as I have the last however many years I've been moving, 10 years. It's just important to, like, have a place that, like, feels like comfortable, feels like, hey, I could, if I'm here for 10 years, like, or longer, like, I would be happy. Yeah, I know I would be happy.
Like, why there's nothing to do
right
here. Oh no, there's a lot of stuff to do here.
Yeah, and there's like, and even if I get bored here, like, there's an airport I can go. It's not like a airport in College Station or Lawton, Oklahoma, where you gotta, like, it's like $1,000 to fly somewhere, and you got to go to Dallas first. It's like, I can fly. If I want to go to Denver, I can hop a flight from El Paso straight to Denver, see my brother, see my niece, see my family. Like, that's another good aspect of it. But yeah, dude, I just have fallen in love with it, the culture, the people. Like I said, I just feel at home.
Home. Now, obviously, in this line of work, we work a ton.
Yeah.
So what does Colin do to have fun?
When I'm not working?
When you're not working. When the camera's on the floor, it's on the shelf. What does Colin do to have fun?
Play a lot of basketball.
Ball
out as much as I can. I don't, like, lift weights or, like, run or anything. I just play basketball. It's the only way. So I feel like I have to do it to stay in shape a little bit. But also, like, I would, even if I did, like, work out other ways, I would still do it because I just love it. I love to go up in the mountains, go hiking. Done that quite a bit. And then just going around town and trying out different restaurants. As you get more in tune with the city, you meet more people. They'll tell you about places. I went to the Lunchbox the other day for the first time. It's on Montana.
Did you like it?
I did. Got the menudo.
There you go. Menudo. He's
So good. It is so good. It's like my favorite thing. I crave it. I'm like every Sunday. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Now you're on that level where you bring your own pot already?
Huh? No, we're not there yet. Not there yet.
He's gonna get there.
Give me a year.
He's gonna get there. He's coming with his pot. He's like, yep, I'm ready. He's ready. So going back, let's go keep it on the food subject. Which area, since you've been Oregon, Colorado, College Station, and Sun City, where do you rank food?
Oh man. Well, growing up in Colorado, I mean, my mother is a fantastic cook, so I can't not.
She's top.
Mom's cooking is the top. But I have always loved Mexican food since I was a little kid. There's pictures of me literally just eating salsa out of a bowl at like age 3. Just not just with a spoon. Just
they didn't bet you any money. Like, here, we'll give you $5.
No. Here's your bowl of salsa. Here's your spoon. Eating salsa. Like that. So I've always loved Mexican food. So definitely El Paso second, and then Oregon and College Station is like more like when people like think of like Texas barbecue, and like that's more College Station than El Paso, I feel like. And so that was I love Texas barbecue. That stuff's good, but Oregon it's like its own
little menu.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like it's just a melting pot type place where there's just like different types of things. So I don't know. I'd probably rank those tied for third. So Sun City and then Oklahoma. Sorry guys. Sorry, Oklahoma's down in that.
Get some flavor in your food. Get some flavor.
Not that it was bad, but it was definitely fifth. Sorry.
All right, now let's take it back to college athletics. Coming from Oregon, seeing that dynamic with the crowd and the student body and everything, what does UTEP and the fans and the students have to do to help elevate these programs here?
I think people get so tired of hearing it, but you have to be patient. Mm-hmm. I think that UTEP, and obviously I've only been here for a year and a half, so I think you can take it with a grain of salt to a certain extent, but I think for so long UTEP has tried to do like the quick fix. Like hiring Tim Floyd mm-hmm. is the ultimate example of that. Like mm-hmm. And I get it, like it's like, oh yeah, this guy, he coached in the NBA, he coached USC. Well, he was on his way out. Mm-hmm. And he wasn't totally, in my opinion, he wasn't totally committed to like building UTEP and understanding like, hey, where this program was and what you needed to do to get it back to where it is. And so I think the issue right now is UTEP, especially speaking specifically about the football program, mm-hmm. where it was when Dana Dimmel took over almost 2 years ago. It was like, I mean, it was in such a bad place. It's like when a house is like so decrepit, like, and you just like you can put a wreath on the door, you can put a nice TV, but it's like that's only doing so much. Like if you really want to build the house, you have to rip it out. Yep, you have to destroy it completely. That is what UTEP is doing right now, and it sucks. Like it's I get it. Like it's frustrating. It's because people want to win, but if you want to win consistently and you want to win for years and years and years to come, this is the beginning of that. Mm-hmm. You have to take them on the chin right now, be bad for a couple years, and then hopefully grow. But I mean it got so bad because for so many years people are trying to do quick fix. I mean look at how people like romanticize that 04 to 07 era of UTEP football, and they won 5 or 6 games. Like I'm sorry people, that's not good. That's like going to a bowl game. Like going to a bowl game for UTEP is good. Like that's good. But like if you want to like actually be one of the top or even just a mid-level group of 5 team, like it takes time to build that type of football team. Seen it at Utah State, Nevada's done it. Boise State, Boise State didn't become Boise State overnight. I mean, that took 10, 15 years. I mean, it just takes patience, and I get it. Like this, especially now in 2019, people are very impatient. Mm-hmm.
We've seen it like with the season opener when there was a good crowd. Mm-hmm. The kids play at a higher level.
Yeah,
the crowd makes a big influence when it's 3rd and goal and the crowd chanting, the opposing team can't concentrate. And then now, they're not winning, and the stadium's not as loud. It does factor in.
It does, but I also don't blame the fans for not coming the team's 1-7, 1-8. Like I can't necessarily blame them for not coming, but I will say, like, I will say it. You got to give Dana at least 2 more years. I would say 4 years. Like 4 years is like it's like you for sure got your guys in there, and they're so young this year. I mean, they're playing sophomores, juniors. They brought in a great recruiting class last year. They're bringing in another great recruiting class this. Like, just give them some time, and then and people will say, well, the basketball team is good. Well, it's like basketball. You bring in 3 guys, that's 60% of your starting lineup, and you can completely change things. Football, you bring in 3 guys, you don't even have a full offensive line.
Exactly.
I mean, so it's a totally different rebuild, and I'm not trying to take anything away from what Rodney Terry has already done. I think he's already shown, like, hey, this is going to be a completely different monster for Utah basketball this year. We'll find out as we go forward, but it's at least the early returns, those exhibition games against Tech. They beat Grand Canyon in an exhibition game. Like, looks like it could be a fun year. So
now going to high school, football season's about to finish. As of right now, as this is airing, who are your top 2 players?
Top 2 players in the city.
Yeah, it's a lot to choose from. Just right off the bat, gotta choose top 2. You guys do a lot.
We do. It's tough. I hate like singling kids out, because I do think there is talent in the city for sure. I think number 1 is a no-brainer though. It's got to be Aaron Dumas at Americas. I mean, he's the single season rushing touchdowns leader already. They're still playing. He's got a year left. He's got offers from SMU, Houston. Heard about Minnesota sniffing around. So I think hands down he is probably the best player in the city. Number 2 is tough though, because there's some good players. Man, put me on the spot here.
It's tough.
I'm gonna go Michael Blanco at Hanks. I know he's obviously the all-time leading receiver in the history of El Paso. I think over the next few years that's going to change hands a few times, just because of how
programs are doing it.
Yeah, how the programs are throwing. I mean, Hanks throws the ball 50, 60 times a game. So, but he's a good player, man. Like we have videos of him. I mean, he's 5'6", 5'7", going up over the top of people, pulling balls out of people, out of like a rabbit out of a hat over people like Randy Moss did. So I think I have to give it to him. I mean, and if he was 4 or 5 inches taller, I mean, you would have major programs sniffing around. So, but yeah, I think those would probably be my top two. And I know people are going to see this and be like, "Whoa, what about?" There are some great players in this city. So
don't worry, you can vote for yours at the 915 showcase to get your top talent out there for the seniors.
There you go. Get that plug in.
Get that plug right there. Perfect, Colin. As always, thank you for coming out. Enjoy these tacos, and for you guys, stay tuned for the next episode and let us know who you want to see next. And for myself, Ace here, I'm here with Colin Deaver from News Channel 9. Catch him when you on the air.
I'm on the air.
He's on the air.
9 overtime. Check that out.
Perfect. Stay tuned.